So, Bones, heard the latest on the Kilmar Borrego Garcia follow up?
Yeah, it's almost like watching a soap opera here. But I seen some stuff. Uh, evidently got arrested by ICE at the 72-hour mark or near it,
Right?
and being held at a facility somewhere in, is it Pennsylvania?
I think I think it's Virginia, but I'm not sure. They said it's an undisclosed detention facility. Um, so
Yeah,
we had
yeah.
left off our last update with him being advised at the 72-hour mark that he was going to be picked up and deported to Uganda. He had to report into the Baltimore ICE office at the 72-hour mark, where he was immediately arrested and detained, where he remains in detention. Uh, his attorneys, of course, are still fighting um, the deportation, and apparently now have a judge ruling that he can't be deported until October.
Right. That's the next thing I was going to bring up was the judge had made that ruling. Um, I don't understand why, but I guess it's a delay maybe so they can get all their ducks in a row or something.
Well, my question here, and it seems to be the question on a lot of people's minds. You've got all these different judges making different rulings. I mean, the judge that freed him said they only had to give 72 hours, but now he's in a different district, and so that district judge has now delayed the deportation. A couple of interesting facts about this whole thing that's going on is his attorney has done two things now. First, they filed a motion stating that Uganda would not be a safe place for him to be deported because, well, for a couple of reasons. One, it's not a Spanish speaking country. Imagine that. He's been in the U.S. 14 years and doesn't speak English, but he doesn't want to be deported to a non Spanish speaking country. And the second thing is they believe that Uganda would just deport him back to El Salvador, where he would face the threats that he's trying to avoid. So they had issued a request saying that they wouldn't fight a deportation to Costa Rica. And Costa Rica apparently has already agreed to accept him.
What's underlying in Costa Rica's decision?
Well,
I mean,
they would grant him amnesty, and it's a Spanish speaking country. So he wouldn't face any fear of being deported back to El Salvador if he went to Costa Rica. My guess is he probably has connections down there. But
yeah,
the U.S., in response, said, if you'll admit to your crimes, we'll deport you to Costa Rica. They made him an offer. He denied the offer. Now, I can understand why the U.S. would do it, because if he admits to the crimes and they deport him, he could never return to the U.S. If they
right,
just deport him, he could still sneak back into the U.S., where he'd just be facing those charges and we'd start the whole process again. Uh,
right.
the other thing his attorneys have tried filing now is they're filing to get him amnesty in the United States. The rule on amnesty and filing for amnesty is that you have to file within 1 year of coming here. His attorneys are arguing, stating that even though he entered the U.S. 14 years ago, he was deported to El Salvador, and being brought back was entering the country again, and so he's within that year timeline. So this is going to be another thing that the courts are going to have to look at and argue. Uh, his attorneys are fighting just any and everything they can about this deportation of this Kilmar Abrego, who's become the poster child for illegal immigrants being deported. Uh, I,
Boy, I'll say,
I,
yeah, and then some.
yeah, I thought at the end of our last video, and we ended it saying, well, our next report will be the closure of this with him on a plane to Uganda. Now we have all this new court battle coming up, all this new information coming up, and we're looking into October before realistically anything is going to be solved and we can close the book on this one.
Right. Yeah, it's just amazing how they can come up with all these loopholes, you know.
Well, and that's it. These are all loopholes. I mean, the bottom line is, and when we've said it all along, he's an illegal immigrant. The deportation should have happened. Clear back in 2019, there was a clearance to deport him by a court. And now you've got all these other courts getting involved. I'm not even sure that the courts have jurisdiction to override the government's authority to deport him, but apparently they're trying to tread lightly and play it strictly by what they think is the book in order to get closure on this thing. Uh, Again, the taxpayer money being wasted on this case. I would like to research and try to find a dollar amount for how much money has been spent
What,
on this
what's
case.
this? What's this costing the United States taxpayers? You know,
Yeah,
uh,
it's
unreal.
I just have no idea. But anyway, so from Padre Havoc and Bones, what we thought was going to be the final follow up and closure on the Kilmar Abrego Garcia case is just another informational update. We'll get back to you when we get a final answer. Looking like maybe sometime in October. If anything new arises, we'll hit up an update on that.
Yeah, that it reminds me of a tune from DAC, but it was about a woman, about his wife. So I'm going to change it up. This time's the first time he left for the last time. There will be no next time. He's finished this time.
Yeah, exactly.
See if that plays out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, y'all have a great day and
Stay positive, everybody.